and you go down. It's pretty much sewage water. When it rains, all that water just floods the place. They have nowhere to go, really, because now, let's say that one of them needs something to eat. They got nowhere to go. They have no friends they can ask. They have no family anymore. The family ditched them. They can't go to the church and ask for help. No, you chose that lifestyle. This is not for you. You're going to hell. So now you think, okay, I need to earn some money. So they get the makeup and they do this on the camera in the gully, pretty much dressing up in drag, but they're not going to a stage show the way how drag queens here would. They're going out there now as male prostitutes dressing up in drag. I need to earn money because I'm starving. These are the things that say, I would never do something like that. That's when you're home closeted. Once you're pushed out for being gay, just like a drug addict, you're doing the very thing that you said you would never do. So they are admitting, I don't like this life, but what choice do I have? If I don't do it, I'm going to starve and die.
Well, you know, I found it rather strange. I think that sometimes, this is just from my opinion, sometimes I think when we have organizations, they have to just step up a little bit harder. Because when I saw those young men and women, ones that, you know, who identify as women, were all cut up from knives and stabbings and all this stuff, that is something that Jamaica really needs to look at. And not only that, what I found more shocking is that these are young people. These are young people. Where are their mothers? The mothers who go to church and say that they're Christians and that they abide by God. And they had these children, and so what if the child is gay? It's your child. And not only that, this child is young and living in a gully, you know, in sewage water. And you mean to tell me that the people of Jamaica drive past this every day and see these young children out there looking the way they are and abused the way they are, and they do absolutely nothing?
That's what they do. Now,
so what do you think should be done?
I think the whole thing has to be done in stages. It has to be, because if it was a place in the United States or in Canada, we'd have better success. But because it's Jamaica, Jamaica is it's probably the most homophobic country in the entire world. Now, the reason why they're making strides to do better is because the music industry took a big punch. Back in the early 90s, 1992, I was living there. And I had to pack up and say goodbye to all the things my family did for me, because they wanted me to have this business and live, you know, as an independent grown man. But the problem was, homophobia was so bad at that time. So nobody had to tease me or anything. I would be getting ready for bed, the radio's on, and you'd hear the song, boom, bye, bye, in a batty boy. I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting bullied over music. So I felt unsafe just listening to the music. The next day I go to the business to open up the shop. Here is this gay guy being beaten up on the streets and everyone's laughing. We didn't have cell phones as popular then as we do now. But to watch a gay guy in Jamaica get beaten up by a bunch of people, it's like watching a drag queen doing an amazing job. Yay, cheers. Cheer to beating him up and watching him get murdered. That's the life that was going on when I was there. One day, somebody was singing the homophobic lyrics at a restaurant where I frequently go, because my family had restaurants too. And when I heard that, the guy looked over at me and it's almost like he's hinting to me, I'm talking about you. And that's when I said, you know what? That's it. Air Canada, when's your next flight? I just packed up and left out of fear. So being here is a safer place for me, but it doesn't change the fact that it's happening to other people. So
I just found it rather strange that even though I have a lot of Jamaican friends here and I hang out with them and we laugh and giggle and stuff, and I find it rather strange that they don't bring more attention to those young Lgbytqia two-spirit people there in that gully. That is something that really needs to be addressed. And second of all, we understand drug addicts, we understand difference of opinions, but that is inexcusable. To drive past those young men and women who are just starting out their lives, can't figure out really who they are because they're forced into situations, whether they're gay, straight, black, or white, down in these gullies because somebody thinks that they're gay or they're just different. They don't know what they are. And it's for me, for them to drive past that every day is an insult. And for the women of Jamaica who have these young children and turn them out like that and just put their children on the street, you should be ashamed. And mainly if you call yourself a Christian, and you put your son out on the road because he is a gay or identify as transgendered or however the situation is, and you put this you should be ashamed. And you should think about when you were growing up and you didn't really know who you were and what you were all about. Your parents didn't put you out on the street like that. And for the men or whoever are abusing those young children in that gully, stabbing them up and cutting them, you need to be in prison. You need to be in prison, and the Lgbt community needs to try and track down these people, take license plates, do whatever, put cameras near the gullies so you can watch what the children are doing, regardless if they're forced into this situation. This situation needs to have some sort of an eye, because these young children, this cannot just go on like this here, and people think that this is acceptable. And mainly when you say Jamaica has churches, 40 churches within a mile difference. I mean, within a mile, come on. First of all, those churches should be ashamed as well for letting those young children be out there in the gully and not give them any food or any kind of support. Yeah, it's easy for me to talk, but yes, it's easy for me to talk, but don't put stuff online that shows these young children telling you the truth, showing you their stab wounds, showing you they're hurting, showing you that they're sleeping in the tunnels. This is stuff that are not lies. This is the truth. And the government of Jamaica needs to pay attention to help those children. They do. And whatever the Lgbytqia community is doing, you need to step up your game a little bit more. Send some messages to the Queen of England, who used to be, you guys used to be a British colony, right? So you send some stuff up there to that queen, and you keep knocking on her door to pay attention to what's going on in Jamaica. If you stop the money coming into Jamaica, it'll get a lot of people's attention down there.
Actually, funny you mention that. Okay, money coming to Jamaica, that's the artists leaving to go and make money abroad. Dancehall is so popular all over the world. When they heard the homophobic slurs, the money stopped coming in. Boycott this, shows are canceled. All of a sudden now you can't get any work and you're a #1 artist. Well, if you're going to spread hatred in your music, we're not going to support you in Los Angeles, in San Francisco, in New York, in all these places. You're just not welcome here. So go back to Jamaica. So now you got these artists that have to perform locally because only the Jamaicans that live there appreciate the homophobia, where the rest of the world does not. So it did fix things. So that's why the homophobia today is not as bad. When I went there in 2017, all I heard, homophobic, somebody was driving in front of my sister my sister accidentally cut some guy off and he didn't like it. And he just said, "Batty boy." I'm thinking like, wait a second, you're a girl. Is he talking to me? No, that's just their way of saying F you. But that was it.
So do they have a pride parade in Jamaica?
They had one, but I don't know if it still exists because even though people are proud to be gay and they want to express it, they're not proud to say, I'm taking the chance of facing death. Because you can get murdered at a pride parade just because people are standing on rooftops and throwing big rocks at you and hoping that they hit you in the head.
Oh my God.
Yes, that's the way it used to be when I was there, which is why I got the hell out. Because if this is how I feel with music played to me and homophobes are being fueled by the hatred in the music, the hate crime for gays went up when those songs came out. And I said, this song has got to get away from number one. Why does the radio station allow them to say these things and not filter anything? That's
well,
what
I did notice the one guy, I can't remember what his name is. I think it starts with a B. And he was trying to go to New York to do a show. And the governor of New York said that he didn't want that in the country, in his city. I forgot what his name was. And he was doing the homophobic lyrics to this one song that was really popular. And he went to the border. I guess they went to the border. They had them arrange the show in New York, and when they got there, the mayor said that they weren't going to allow them in the country because of these homophobic songs and all this stuff. So they kept turning, like you said, they kept turning them back in the U.S. because they weren't having that. They weren't down there trying to incite anything, because New York is one of the most liberal places in the U.S. for gays. I mean, they have the biggest gay pride, almost one of the biggest gay pride parades in the U.S., New York. So they weren't going to have him. Now, when I used to listen to what's her name, Patra, and a few of the other ones, and there was one woman that used to do this one song, Kill the Batiman, Kill the Batiman. I can't remember who she was. But as I did notice, a lot of the Jamaican songs have fallen off of the charts because of this kind of rants and discrimination things that people think are acceptable. Now, I want to know, why is it that, where does this come from in Jamaica? Where does this hatred of gays come from?
It comes from the streets too, because they set a certain tone. You need to look a certain amount of masculinity. And there's this saying, as a man, I don't ever want to be a good-looking man. No, I don't want to be as good-looking as my girlfriend. No, she's the one that's supposed to be pretty. So the uglier I am, the better. A lot of guys will say that. No guy here wants to be referred to as ugly. People want to be referred to as good looking. Do you think I'm cute? Does this look good on me? Oh God, no. In Jamaica, the homophobes, the straight guys that say we don't want that here, I love being an ugly gold teeth man, mash mouth, because the uglier I am, the cuter she looks.
Now, for the young, what do you think should happen? What do you think the young children in those gullies should be doing to get out? Or are they just stuck there?
They're stuck there, and they're doing what they can to get out. The problem is, you get out of there, that's the easy part. Where are you going? You have nowhere to go. So they still need to eat. So they go sell their bodies, sell drugs, do whatever it takes. That way they can have that slice of bread or the beef patty with the cocoa bread and the box juice. At least they're saying, I'm finally full. Oh gosh, thank gosh. Now I have to have a shower. Go back in the gully where the fire hydrant is leaking, and they bathe there. It's fresh, clean water, but what? Got your bathroom? Where you sleep? Got your bathroom? Yes. Why can't you go to a friend's house? My mother doesn't want you here because guess what? We found out you're gay. And the bad thing is, that boy is also gay, closeted. He can't let his mother know that he's gay, and especially the father, because he too will get thrown out and end up in the same gully. So you're not welcome to my house anymore like you once were. So it just snowballs another problem. And like you said, people need to go to prison. Funny you mention that. The gully queens, from what I was told, are the most violent people in the country now. They purposely go out and commit crimes because they know if they commit a bad crime, they're going to get arrested. They get to go to prison. They got 3 meals a day and a place to stay. It's better than the gully. So they will commit the crime to get out of the gully by being there. So now, if you're going to get stabbed and whatever, it's going to happen indoors. You're safe. That's the mentality.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, I was going to say that the government of Jamaica should be ashamed because the queens, or the Gully queens, which they call them, are treated less than men or people in prison who have committed heinous crimes.
Mm-hmm.
And these are young children in the Gully. That means that a lot of them haven't committed a lot of crimes, or they're just trying to get by, or they're just young kids trying to figure out who they are. And like you said, it's shameful that they are now committing these crimes just to go to jail so they have 3 meals a day and a roof over their head. You know, shame on Jamaica. Shame on Jamaica. I don't care who says anything about anything. Shameful the way you treat the LGBT community in Jamaica. It's a shame. And you really need to rethink that and try to help those young people get their lives started, regardless of what they identify as and where they come from. Give them a great start in life, or try to help them get a start in life, because a lot of those young kids should be in school.
Exactly. You want to know something else interesting about that? I have a couple of Jamaican friends here that go to the local gay bar. Mm-hmm. They will message me or they'll call me and they say to me, "Oh, do you want to go to that place?" That's the code, that place. Oh. And I'm like, when? What time? And that's how they say, "Do you want to go to the gay bar?" You're telling me you're so scared from what you see in Jamaica. Now that you're living in Canada, you're telling me you can't say the word gay on the phone. You're afraid that that word's going to trigger something. And that fear has been put there for the longest time. So you have grown-ups that will not use the word gay on the phone. No, we're going to go to that place. If I walk down the street with you and that Jamaican comes up to me and say, "Who is this one?" Let's say if you're not in drag, you're just out in your boy clothes. Mm-hmm. I can't say Larry's gay. Don't say that word. No. The code word is, "Oh, he goes to our church." Mm-hmm. Our church, our community. So when a Jamaican comes to me and says, "I know that guy, he goes to our church," that's our bar. Oh, okay. I don't want to expose too much, because you have to remember, when this goes live and everybody all over the world can see it, including people in Jamaica, they're going to look at this and say, they caught on. We got to find another way to attack people. So this is why I have to be careful what I'm saying to you on this call, because it's very important, but at the same time, I can't disclose locations where people go, because now other people are going to try and harm them. They're already destroyed. I don't want them dead. So I have to, for this call.
You know, it's a shame that when you think about this, we have so many services in Toronto, and so many of the Jamaican community participate in a lot of the programs that a lot of us take part in, and there's a lot of help here and services here. It would be great if some of those kids could reach out to some of the program workers here, or you can send them links. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they know how to access a phone here and there. But there needs to be some kind of more of an outreach to get those young people out of that gully and get them moving in the right direction, whether it's to get them a job, but mainly they should be in school. And that's what I noticed, that there were so many young ones there not in school. And this should be a concern to the government of Jamaica. Number one, that those young kids aren't in school. And number two, that somebody is driving around harming these kids, regardless if they're selling drugs or selling their bodies to make money for food. Somebody's harming these kids, and they need to be brought into justice for that situation. Yes, it's easy for me to say that because I live in Canada, but don't hate me because I live in Canada and I'm privileged to this and this and this. If I was in Jamaica, I'd be subjected to the same thing those kids would be subjected to. So, but fortunately, I live in Canada. But I'm willing to say and just offer my voice and to sort of say, you people need to help these children in that gully. That is shameful on Jamaica. And it is really shameful because there are young people that have so much to give and so much to offer. Stop hurting them. And, you know, and for the government in the US, they'd be knocking on your door asking, why is your child not in school? Mm-hmm. And if he's not in school in 2 weeks, we're going to put you in jail.
But then again, when their help is there, they think they're helping, but they're not. You chose this life. If you would just change that sexual preference back to straight, your parents would take you back. Well, guess what? Maybe you don't understand it for the gay side. Let me explain it as a black man. I would love to just press that button and turn white before I go out the door so I don't face racism. I can't do it. So a gay person, you can't press that button and turn straight. You can't do it. You are who you are. Until you walk a mile in someone else's shoes, don't say anything because you've never been there.
I understand that. But like I said before, Chadwick, sometimes you just have to take the next step. And I find that if the kids only have the Pride Committee there to look up to and look to talk to and try to find some sort of help, the Pride Committee needs to take a few more steps. And they need to go back and knock on that church's door. Because for a church to do those children the way they've done them, outcast them and not offer any services at all. Not that I'm saying every church in Jamaica has done that, but if those kids are living down there, that means that there's majority no help for them nowhere that they turn.
And not the church now. I mean, things have changed for the better. Like I said, I went there 3 years ago, and not a thing of homophobia was out there. They changed the music to something that's more pleasant. And because of that, the people became more pleasant. I said, okay, so you can twist homophobia to the point where you can get rid of it. Anything bad can turn good as long as you're willing to make that move. But they weren't willing to make the move to change the music. Money out of their pockets. But go back to Jamaica. We don't want you. That's where the turning point was. You mean tell me I can't make money because of my lyrics? Yes. If you want to make money, change it to something else. And that's when change happened. The American society actually said, get out of here, we don't want you here. The guy you're talking about, you can remember his name is Buju Banton.
Yes, that's him. I saw that on the news. Where they turned him away at the airport. And I thought, good for them. Good for them turning him away. But you know, Chadwick, I think that maybe, you know, if you can talk to some of the people in the Jamaican community that do these different programs, maybe they can send some letters. I think sending letters to the government of Jamaica will be on deaf ears. But I think if you send some letters to that Queen Elizabeth or that governor, that prime minister of the UK, or wherever it is over there, you send quite a few letters and petitions about what's happening with those guys and girls in that gully there, something will change. But you've got to make some sort of an effort. And I think letters are a start. But you can't send letters to Jamaica because I think it's going to fall on deaf ears. You need to send letters on to somebody that can have an impact on the economy of Jamaica. If they don't change it, this is what's going to happen. Or bring attention to real big attention to those kids in that gully. To the Jamaican consulate or governor, the Senate, or whatever is there. Let me tell you something. Letters will help, and it will get those kids out of the gully. I cannot believe they're not going to school, and they're running around prostituting and selling drugs, and look how skinny they are.
And they're so skinny. And he lifts up his shirt, and you see that scar and the acid burn, and he goes like this. That's where the knife went. This is what they deal with all the time. But mind you, out of all the gay people there in Jamaica, the gully queens are probably treated the worst because you have gay people that have places to live. But because they look and behave like me in regular clothes, I don't talk like this, I don't fight like this, that's what they want to see. I'm like that naturally. But
Well,
see,
all gay people aren't queenie and feminine, but some of us are. I mean, we talk with our hands and we talk with S's, and we're very dramatic. But that doesn't mean that somebody has the right to murder you or stab you up or harm you in any way.
exactly.
And Chadwick, what do you think should be done? What do you think should be done?
The first thing I think should be done is these people who are kicking them out of homes, out of schools, out of churches, and you say you're going to go to hell, there's no place in heaven for somebody like you. Take a look at what's going on here. This person, you thought they were straight, and you loved them in church. You praised them for the work they did in school. Mommy and daddy loves you. The minute you find out they're gay, all they did was told you who they were. They didn't change. You did it. The parents don't want them. The church, you're going to hell and there's no heaven for somebody like you. School, get out of here, we don't want you. All you three changed. The kid did not. He only informed you, this is who I really am. I'm tired of living this double life. Oh, really? Well, I'm going to show you. You weren't raised that way. Well, let's back up a bit. Wait a minute. You weren't raised that way. Tell me, straight parents, how do you teach somebody how to be gay and you're both straight? I missed that class. I didn't go to school for that.
Mm-hmm.
How many of us went to gay school to learn how to be gay and come up with a degree in it? It's your thinking. Just think, a straight person. Oh, this is my high school sweetheart. Oh, we just had sex and blah, blah. Wait a minute. Who taught you how to do that? It's your first time. Did you go to straight school? Come on. But it's perception is the reality. My perception is my reality. Your perception is your reality. You think that I should not go to church because of my sexual orientation? Then don't let me in there. I'm not going. As far as I'm concerned, my God is the rest of man. So I'm not praising Jesus anymore because according to the church, Jesus wants this and not for me. Well, why do you come knock at my door and tell me? Why does it have to come from you? If he is the Almighty One like you say he is, Jesus can find me on his own. If he needs your help, he is not the Almighty One.
Mm-hmm.
So I have issues with the church.
Now, where is this Gully? Where is this Gully thing located? Is it in Kingston?
It's in Kingston. Actually, it's in New Kingston, from what I was told. But you see the harbor, the Kingston Harbor. Mm-hmm. When you cars drive over this bridge, the Gully is underneath it. There's a bank right there, and there's some other parking lot or something on the other side. So it's a reputable area because people go out, park their cars, and they wear their name tags and their badges to go work in the bank. People are walking past that, going for bank loans and all that stuff. Meantime, you got people homeless underneath there, and it's like, that's not me. I didn't choose that life. That's why I'm not there. No, you've never been gay. That's why your parents didn't put you there. Mm-hmm. They didn't have a choice of being gay or not. They had a choice whether they wanted to come out or not. And some people are so scared, they will not defend their own gay friends, because if I defend you, I'm a target. You're not supposed to have a gay friend. What the hell's wrong with you, Chadwick? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll be that straight guy. I'll get myself a girlfriend. I've done that before. And guess what? These girls end up loving me, but I don't love them the way they thought I did. I did it for a show because this is what my family wants. This is what my church wants. This is what everybody around me wants. I did everything that everybody wanted, and I did nothing for myself. Okay. So I had to let her go because nothing was happening. I knew nothing was going to happen.
So what do you think, let's just say there's people abroad and watching this show, what do you think should happen? How does people get in contact to help these kids in these gullies? Because something needs to be done. How do you bring, what do you think, like, what's the first step you think should happen to try to help these kids? Because something has to happen eventually.
Mm-hmm. And you made a good point on that. I think they need to have some kind of an outreach pride guide for people that are going to community centers, people that live in the gullies. You're down in the gully here. Here's our pride guide, whatever. If you need to call a hotline, here's a toll-free number. Get a cell phone from somebody if you don't have one. there are payphones that are still there that work. Just call and say, listen, I'm having issues. I need to get out of my situation. It should be anonymous. Have a post office box number, not an actual address. And you go to that post office box and pick up your mail. Do not put an actual mailing address, street number of that organization, because people will burn the place down whether you're in there or not, because they don't want to see people like you and me be equal to them. Why should this Stephanie Stevens drag queen have a job working beside me? Why should, and furthermore, look at my light brown skin. You got black skin. What are you doing working in this office? That's what something. It's a hostile environment. But to get back to your question, you're in the gully. You should not be there in the first place. You should not be kicked out of your home just at 15, like a stray animal, to fend for yourself because they don't understand you. So how will you understand somebody when you do something like that? You never will. And this is why I said in my previous videos on Facebook, you can educate the ignorant. You can't fix stupid. And too many people today are trying to fix stupid. You need to educate the ignorant. Once you do that, do you know more now than when I first started speaking to you? Yes, I've done my job. So what are you going to do about these gully queens? Do you want to see the place flooded and flooded and flooded of people so that water can't flow because it's full of gay people that are rejected? Or do you want to create an environment for them? You don't have to like them, but you know what? Yes, you need food. You need education. You could be the future doctor that's never going to be a doctor. You're the person that could have found a cure for cancer, but because you lived life in the gully, now you have to turn to prostitution. So all your dreams get thrown out. But even here,
do these people that live these men and women that live down in the gully, does a doctor ever go down there to see what's going on with them?
No.
Do they ever have any outreach programs that go down there?
They have those programs, but they are not getting any success. So somebody like, say, a very, very popular person in the gay community, whether it's London or Toronto, they have people like you and Katu that does drag here, charitable things. They go there, they fly down, they do all these things, and they have to pack up and leave, fearing for the security of their own well-being. But that is a Jamaican that actually is able to live in the United States, happily, safe from all that. But yeah, you're in the United States now. You're living in New York. You don't have to worry about that. They do. They're still in the gully. You gotta get them out. Once you're out of the gully, now we can breathe and feel everything's okay. We're far from it. We're far from it.
Okay, well, we're going to wrap it up here shortly. Hopefully, you brought some insight onto what the life is really like in Jamaica. The fact that it was easier for me to understand that Jamaica is really not a safe place. It's safer now, but yet it's not a place where you would just pick up and just be who you are, because it would put your life in danger in a lot of sense of even whether or not you're a tourist and they rob you and murder you, or you're a gully person that they just despise because you're homosexual. These are things that are very concerning. And I find it rather strange that women who have had these young children, regardless if they're homosexual or not, and say that they're Christians and they go to church and they don't care for these young men and women. This is something that's astounding to me and shocking. I know it happens all over the world, but for it to happen so out in the open and nobody does anything about it is more shocking to me. Now, I think that the letter writing thing is a good idea. And I think now that everybody is on the internet and we have everybody's attention and people are watching things, I think sharing those videos with the right people continuously until you get somebody's attention, whether it's the ambassador to Jamaica or the city councilman of whatever this country or that country or the human rights, the World Health Organization, whoever, writing letters, sending those video links from YouTube, I think will move a few people out of their chairs to do something. So I think, I'm going to, do what I can with just putting the word out that I'm not from Jamaica, but I'm a human being. And when I saw this, and mainly from our community, somebody has to, do something. Whether or not anything comes out of it, you have to try. So I'm going to see if I can send a few letters off to just a few people and see what happens. And then I'm going to continuously do that week after week and see what happens. Whether it's a celebrity or it's a politician or something, I'm going to keep sending letters until somebody goes over there and see what's going on with those children in that gully and find out why they are not in school. And regardless of how you feel about them and whether or not I'm Jamaican or not, I'm a human being and those kids are a human being. And I found it rather disturbing. And it's very upsetting that you stabbed the children up the way you did and did them the way you did them. That's just not good. So thank you so much, Chadwick, for talking to me today on the show. You shedded some insight on it. I mean, it's a very tough subject and a very eye-opening and very shocking to just even me. And trust me, I've been around this world and I've seen everything. But for me to have seen those kids like that was shocking. I hope the government of Jamaica understands that they should be ashamed. And the Christians in Jamaica who run those churches and those organizations and not helping those children, you should be ashamed too.
Yeah, just one thing before we end off. Let me just tell you where that life led me today living in London. When I went to Jamaica, I'm hated for gay. So I came back to Canada only to find out I'm hated for black. So I was not wanted anywhere. So when people see me with this attitude on stage performing, that's a lot of aggression from years of homophobia and racism combined. I had my head pushed in the toilet at school and flushed. And the guys would say, oh, look at him. He looks just like what, you can't tell the difference between him and Jeb. They look the same. Damn faggot. So, okay, you hate me for being gay or black? Both. So here, the gay community was taking Red Stripe and Appleton and throwing it down the drain saying, we don't want anything Jamaican in these bars because you guys are hatred. And Jamaica's like, we don't want anything to do with damn gay people. That's an American and Canadian thing. We don't have gays here. I'm on the fence. You're telling me to pick a side between my culture and my gay community? It reminded me of people who are mixed race. Black lives matter. No, you don't. All lives matter. You needed me to choose between my black mother and my white father? Yes, that's where people are. It's causing us to feel hostile. So when I get on stage and I put on a performance, I get nasty and vulgar because certain things remind me of where I was at that point. It's just a show, but something upset the apple cart in me. That's why I pushed it. So that's when I leave Chadwick at home and I turn into Miss Achin, because in Jamaica, Miss Achin is a Chinese thing. Mm-hmm. It's a stage thing. And they gave me that name, whether I wanted it or not, because you can't say, oh, Chadwick, he's that black guy. Excuse me, the whole bar's black. Can you be more specific? Oh, the Chinaman. Oh, the guy drinking the Appleton rum. Okay. It's not a racial thing. It's just an identity. Mm-hmm. That's where I can leave it. But you're right. The Gullies need work.
Well, it was great talking to you, Chadwick. You shined a lot of light on it, and you're very funny. And thank you so much for giving me some insight on what's happening in Jamaica with the Queens and the Lgbytqia two-spirit pronoun community. And hopefully something good will come from all of this, whether we get any real action. The fact that we can enlighten somebody, or somebody's watching the video and decides that they want to take action to help those kids in the gully of Jamaica.
We're going to have some success because you put it to light. I almost have to just kind of forget about it because I keep thinking, it doesn't matter what I say. Nobody cares. But when you said you want to do a video, I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I've been talking about this for so long, and you're the only one that showed any interest to the point where we're doing a video about it. So I want to say thank you for inviting me to do this, because you showed interest that so many others did not care about it.
Well, you know, sometimes people try to turn a blind eye to the obvious, just to protect their own safety and well-being. But I have learned now that we have this voice during this pandemic. It's better to use it for good and do what you can, and to help others, and just be informative so that we all can stay safe. We can all feel like human beings. We can all feel wanted and loved, because we, you know, we're in this world to help each other and love each other. And when we see a problem, sometimes it's easy to turn and look the other way. And I've done it many times because I didn't want to get involved. But at the end of the day, somebody has to step up. So by me and you talking, this will go a long way to help some people out there, or make people think a little bit different, or maybe help people take action that probably should have been taken long ago.
Yes.
So you need to understand that these are young people with great lives, great brains, great futures in front of them. And when you do them the way you do them, nobody has the right to hurt people just because of who they feel that they are.
That's right.
So until next time, Chadwick, we will talk again.
Yes.
And, you know, and I love talking to you. So I will talk to you again. Ladies and gentlemen, on the show today, I had Mr. Chadwick Chung talking about the Gully Queens of Jamaica. We wanted to bring some light on the fact that these are young men and women living in the sewer system of Jamaica, and living a sort of a very dangerous life. And hopefully we brought some light and insight to what is actually happening there with the Lgbytqia two-spirit pronoun community that the government of Jamaica seems to have turned a blind eye to. So hopefully this show will bring some light and open your hearts and open your minds, and some of you to take action to help those kids in the Gully of Jamaica. They're called the Gully Queens. It's on YouTube. YouTube it and see what the show and the story is all about. Thank you guys so much, and we will chat again, Chadwick.
All right, Stephanie, have a good evening.
Have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye. You've been on the Stephanie Stevens Show. Mwah, 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 mwah.